Hello, comrades, friends, compatriots, comrades, and fellow young people, fellow leaders, powerful young leaders. Thank you so much for joining us today. Me and Mary are going to be having a very interesting conversation around elections.
Yeah, it's 2026. We have a few weeks left till we hit the second Thursday of August, which is going to be 13th. Yeah? I'm looking forward to elections.
It's so funny, Mary, when we talk about it's a few weeks and it's the 13th of August. It seems like it's so far away, but it's only 62 days till elections. That's how close it is.
You guys even know the days.
We are counting down. We're literally counting down to when we get to go to the polls. How do you feel generally around the 2026 general elections?
It's mixed feelings, honestly. I am so happy that a significant number of young people are on the ballot paper. I am not happy that loyal members of the party, young people who are loyal members of the party, we are left out. Not one party, different parties. But I'm also happy that they still, stood against all odds and contested as independent candidates. That is nice. I'm also happy to see young women from provinces like my province. As usual, I always say, I think Luapula is the house of politicians because, we've got, I think the youngest adopted candidate, female candidate from Luapula. So that's a plus for us. How are you feeling about these elections?
I feel like we have. I'm really excited as well, as you've mentioned, because 2021 young people turned out in numbers to vote. We got up and we went and we made sure that our voice was heard. I feel like in 2021 we were heard. In 2026, we were like, now we need to be elected. And I'm equally excited that a significant number of young people have been adopted, as you've said, and some have been brave enough to still run independently. It's just a bit, I think for me, with everything that's going on and just with the interactions with young people, I think there's a lot of misinformation going on right now because the other day, where I'm just randomly walking and, the young people are talking and they're like, but Siba Imidi Labaja, Kaidi, Spanachite resign. And I was just like, okay.
3 months, resign 3 months before
nomination.
There's now a new constitution which says, where are we getting this information?
And I think for me, it reminded me about how it's very important for us to be informed as young people, especially leading up to elections. It's how you protect yourself. Because if we do not read, if we're not up to date with the new laws, the new policies that are in place, somebody will come and tell you we're cancelled on my elections and you sleep and not vote.
And now in the era where we have AI, I'm just going to make up the ECZ chairperson saying, oh no, elections were cancelled. And my grandmother or my auntie is going to stay back and say I'm not voting because the elections were cancelled. So I think this is a critical period, and seeing that we are in a period where there's a lot of technology which can be used for our benefit, the good benefit, but there's always the negative part of it where we are seeing. I think I saw a video which was once saying Mutadena Lumango was arrested, and it was all over social media that the president got. You see? So a person who is not as who's not been into AI or has got no knowledge of AI will not know that that's not a real video. That's like a fake video. But then you can think of what would happen then if these elections are left in the hands of culprits like those who
scammers. I know they've gone to even touch on elections and important things. You're totally right. We need to be very deliberate about getting the right information around the electoral process. And as the global platform Zambia, we're going to be very deliberate about ensuring that we post about some of these things, talk about some of these things, so that you walk and you know when something is fake, you look at it and you say, oh no, you're not playing with my vote this year. You're not playing with my voice. I need to verify if this is real or not before you spread something. Make sure it's verified before you share it, because sometimes we are the culprits in actually spreading this false information. So we need to be very careful. And I know you are very big on media, and so maybe some tips on how do people, or especially young people, then protect themselves from this false information.
I think when it comes to social media, think of pages, social media pages. You know, we've got these media houses. Of course, you know that ZNBC won't release something without having it verified, because that's a big broadcasting house and it's a national broadcaster. So you know that information coming from them is reliable. So even when you come across something from pages that you're not so sure about, at least compare it with 2, 3, 4 media houses that are reliable. We talk of Zambia Reports, we talk of Mwebantu. Sometimes though some of the information that comes from there, but I know talk of ZNBC, Diamond TV. I think these guys have got reliable information. But also don't just be quick to share, right?
Oh, yes.
If it's something that has to do with the president, I think now there's some improvement where you actually see that information coming out from their page.
Yeah.
So if you see something on their page, you know that it's reliable and you can easily hold them accountable. If
The
it's something
ECZ
to
page
do,
as well.
yes, the Electoral Commission, think of civil society organizations that are reliable, because
Exactly.
nowadays we have organizations that are just mushrooming and they'll be so quick to share some of this information. So at least before you spread, if you know the person involved, at least call them, contact them, find a way of verifying that information, because remember, it's not just about you spreading rumors. You might actually find yourself in conflict with the law.
Exactly.
And the law is not playing. The law is not playing.
Kanyama Saiba, iliko serious.
Very, very serious,
Oh yes, but not to scare you. I think we also need to just, while we are very careful to advise you on what you consume, how you spread it, don't be afraid to make sure that you're heard. Use social media to share your opinions, share your thoughts, share your hopes even. Use social media to offer support to youth candidates that are contesting, as opposed to sharing a story that you don't know if it's real or not. How about you just share your story, share the stories of other young people that are in elections, that are contesting, and that way we're using social media around elections as a powerful tool.
And talking about support, right? I think a lot of us claim to support young people. I think this is a time to actually test our support for young people.
In Bemba, we say "Chikwanka, but chimwena kumampadanya," so we need to see you actually come through.
Yeah, it's not enough that we have data that young people contested. What are we doing within our capacity to ensure that those young people make it to those who were elected post the ballot, right? So think of any young person within your community that is contesting. There are very easy ways you can support them.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, they need finances. If you're able to help them, even a 50 kwacha, they can get a liter or two. Now you can get 2 liters of fuel. I don't know about diesel, but yeah, that can move them from one ward to the other. Support them financially. You can join their campaign trail, even just talking to your mother, your father in your house to say there's a young person contesting, give them an ear, listen to what they're offering, support these young people. But also social media, you see a young person advertise or share the post they're contesting. You sharing that is a form of support. Please, we cannot be the first people saying, you are too young, you're not winning, we cannot be the first people to demotivate those people. Remember, they're taking a bold step that probably some of us have not taken. They're representing our voices as young people. The least we can do is encourage them. Come on, go ahead, vote for these young people, share that, mention the people that you know that are coming from those constituencies. That is also a form of supporting those young people.
Powerful.
Yeah.
That's totally correct. And we need to come through for each other. And I know somebody might be sitting somewhere thinking, but why should I vote youth? And I'll tell you exactly why you should vote youth. We live in a country where young people are the majority of its population. Majority of the challenges that this country faces ultimately fall on the shoulders of young people.
Yeah.
Public debt, you know who's going to pay it back? Us.
You.
So if we're not here when decisions around public debt are being made, we're still going to bear the consequences. It would be good that we're there thinking 50, 70 years from now, even as decisions are being made. When laws are enacted, we saw how people were coming to react to certain laws way after they were enacted. We need youth voices when laws are enacted in our National Assembly. And how do we do that? It's by electing young people to go into National Assembly and add their voice to these important policies and laws. We need to be deliberate about this, dear young people. And I'm very excited that previously we would hear comments around, hey, but the young people, the quality of young people. But I can assure you that the quality of young people that we have contesting now is where you look, ule umfana wino, like ulangana, size wanga huyo.
Exactly.
And that's powerful. And we really need to rally behind these young people, and especially young women, because we know how difficult it is for young women to come up and offer themselves to lead. And so when they prepare themselves and they do offer themselves to lead, they really do deserve our support.
This reminds me of a phrase that we would always use, I don't like politics. But my dear, you must like politics. You must like politics. Whether you like it or not, whether you vote or not, so long as you exist in whatever form, even an animal, a decision made by a politician would definitely find a way of impacting them.
Oh, yeah.
So the least you can do is take part in this whole process. Remember, elections are not just on the voting day. Elections are a cycle. It's a cycle. Whatever point it finds you in, identify what role you can play, right?
Yes.
If you don't want to vote, I'm not encouraging you, but if you don't want to vote, at least find something that you are going to do, that you're going to point at as a contribution to the election cycle.
Oh, yeah.
Complaining that this is expensive, your loan is being cut off, and is not enough. What role are you playing to ensure that society becomes a better place for you, your family, your kids, we live and breathe politics, and it will find its way to our lives, whether we hide away or not.
I always joke with my young sisters. I say, if you don't want to vote, contest. Because I know once you contest, you will be forced to vote for yourself.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, and it's important that we're having these conversations, and we're calling around young people. We're calling upon young people across the country to join us in these conversations as we bring them to you, because we'll be tabling different issues, from the misconceptions that we've tabled here today to encouraging young people to support young people, to the electoral processes as well. The next episode that we will bring to you will be around electoral processes and what has changed.
The
What
legal reforms, the Bill 7, the mixed member proportional representation.
Oh, yeah.
And all that.
And also, another important conversation is what hasn't changed, Mwevantu. The whole of this week, there was news about, no, he signed, and then there was news around he didn't sign. So we must continue to have these conversations, and we're looking forward to having them with many young people around the country, so they do add their voice to the important issues that are going on around the country.
Yeah, just to add on, I think we are going to have various conversations around elections. I think sometime almost every week, look out for the Global Platform Zambia page. I think we're going to be sharing some flyers, some posters about conversations that young people are going to be having in different spaces with regards to elections. So remember, you joining in is also part of you playing a role in these elections.
Oh, yes.
So let's look out for those. If you like there's a topic you might also want to contribute to, you want to be a speaker, there's an incident within your community that is happening, is it election violence that you want to report on, all those issues that are happening, we might not be there, but you are the eyes and the ears on the ground. This is an opportunity for you to also let the world know what is happening within your communities. So look out for that.
Look out for us. We'll be coming to you more frequent than we have, and we're going to be having all these conversations. We're really excited about it. I hope you are too, and we look forward to having you join us.
Yeah.